can hear me. Right. Okay. Thank you. All right. What's that? Okay. Now, okay. So, in LaSalle, we have a very unique support that is called pastoral academic support. Right. So this support itself, we actually also had a kind of like overlapping kind of support. Yeah, it's like, from the teaching, the Damrus area on the uh, learning and teaching, right? So TLC, Teaching and Learning Center. So there's a bit of overlapping, but what we actually do is later I'll inform you guys what our support is. So if you were to look into our pastoral care academic support, there's two colleagues here. So that's me, that's in front, and Janet too. So both of us are in the team of pastoral care. Now, what is different between the student services? We are not under the student services. We are under WUKANG. So it's our learning and teaching research team. So we are area of support that provides students a platform to seek independent guidance. Right, so students come to us through the learning portal consultation, right, to actually share with us their academic situation, challenges, and also, there's a lot of things that happen between, like, when you have a personal challenges, it will actually link into your academic area also. So we also support the well-being for the students, and of course, that, as I mentioned, academic related matters. Both me and Janet has already many years in LaSalle. We started teaching LaSalle since the Goodman Road and till now. Yeah, so we have seen many generations of students, and our students, some of them are in alumni and very successful in their industry and career. Okay, so what was that? Okay. Okay, next, sorry. So we have a designated location in LaSalle. So that will be in Block E, level 4 at E403. So students, when they schedule a session with us, they will actually come to this place. This place is, we call it also a not just consultation room, but it's also a safe space. At the same time, we also provide activities for students. So what kind of activities for the students is later on I will go through, but there are also some drop-in sessions.
Good morning, team. I think she has muted herself.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry. So, okay, I go back to the how to actually contact us. And this is the space. So you can locate us in the Block E at 403. So this is a designated place for the consultation, and also where we provide activities for the students. So we are not just providing the um, support on the academic and personal challenge, but also activities for self-care. So the student can actually email directly to us or through the booking in the learning portal itself. So you can see the link, right? So this is a cozy corner for actually all, we also welcome staff to actually come in to have a chat with us. Okay. So this is how the students locate us. Very important that we always reach out to students every beginning of the month. So for example, in October, the first week of the calendar of the day, I will actually reach out to students. So I send to all students via email so that, hey, everyone, hey student, that we have this support in LaSalle. So if you have any challenges or you just want to talk to us, you can actually email to us, so they can actually respond through my email, or sometimes they actually email to us and say, how do we schedule a session? So this is how we actually guide them to the learning portal, where they actually click on the student link. Yeah, and you drop down, there's a pastoral care. So through the pastoral care link, you can see that the scheduler here, right? And they can actually click on that. So the scheduler actually, I show the schedule of me and Janet, right, of our time and the day that we are available. Okay, so you can see that, all right, we can do face-to-face and online, it depending on the students' availability. So if the students like to meet us to chat face-to-face, then we will have the session in the consultation room. If not, then will be online, depending on if the students, whether the students in campus or off campus. Okay, so all the sessions that we have is confidential. So we're not sharing to any people, right, to even start. So what happened is that what we do is that after the session, we'll assess the whole conversation, and if it's they need to support uh, by the program itself. Let's say they have some academic area that they need support from the program. What we do is that we have to seek permission from the student and ask if it's okay for us to create the link and support to the program. Then that's where we actually get connected. So with that, right, the follow-up is we will actually email to the program and mention about these students need the program team support. And that's where we actually hand over to the program team. There's many times we also follow up with the student, right? So checking upon if they actually have speak to their program team or what kind of progress they have done. So checking if they need any other more help. So along the way, so there's always a constant provide help for the students if for students that always come to us. So for my situation, I have students that can come to me every month, some of them even every week. For the time being, right? So there are students also for one students actually for throughout his year in LaSalle, he will see me nearly every month. Okay, nearly every month. So sometimes just drop in for a chat. Right. Sometimes it's just feeling kind of everyone will feel frustrations. There's frustrations in every things that we can do. We do. So students will come and have a chat. So we are not counselor, but we are staff that actually listen to the student, right? Listen and assess if there's any other condition, we will extend or create the link to support via probably to the student services, program team, learning center, even to the student services financial side. It depends, okay, what are the students need. So this is what we actually do, right? Provision support, where where the student come and what we do is we provide a listening ear, and we also share experience. So why it's always take two hands to clap. Students will have to actually inform us or tell us what is actually happening. And we also, because through our years of experience, we have collected many stories that we actually can share with students. So at the end of it, sometimes we close with a session with the mindfulness practice to cope with the challenges. So what is actually we actually so we are not counselor, as I mentioned just now. Our what we do is that we're using the mindfulness practice, right, in for guiding the students. You can see the mindfulness in pastoral setting. Yeah, so we anchor on that. So you can see that there are area that actually guiding towards to the student well-being. If you can see that mindfulness actually help in terms of navigating the challenges with greater resilience and self-awareness, and equip them in the skill of stress reduction, improvement, enhance concentration, regulated emotional, coping with change, promoting compassion, building relations, and conflict management. So these are some of the key areas that actually we are doing. So just a bit of idea of what a mindfulness practice that actually we are anchored on. So if you were to read, if you come across a very general information of a mindfulness practice, it's simply mindfulness is a basic human ability, right, to be fully present and aware of what we're doing, right? I'm not going to read the whole text, but the most important is we cultivate the habits of awareness through mindfulness practice. So, okay, next. Okay. So, basically is because a lot of time, we like to think a lot and ruminating a lot of situation that is actually not true. That's why mindfulness practice is to guide students to pause for a while and to um bring awareness of what is they are thinking, right? And then after that, reflect what they will have to do upon it. So these are the things that actually, beside the support for the student, we also conduct workshop. Okay, so uh, since last year started, I already have a workshop with a diploma level 1, right? And this year I had a workshop with the BA Design Social Future Program also. So what I did is actually I offered the mindfulness-based strategic awareness training. All right. So it's like 45 minutes session. And then also the growth mindset is actually very important. Yeah. So to let the student understand, growth mindset in terms of how they think and how they do their projects and also teamwork. So while I'm offering on that area on academic and personal development, Janet, right, offer mindfulness based connective therapy where she actually have she just finished a course at the University of Oxford. So she offered introducing mindfulness for diploma and undergraduate. And for the postgraduate, she offered mindfulness-based connective therapy for life. Both of us actually have already gone through mindfulness training. So from the basic advanced and all the way to MBCT, stress reductions, and connective therapy, right? So Janet carried forward into the mindfulness-based connective therapy for life, while I actually focused on the mindfulness-based strategic awareness training from SMU. So both of us are anchored same at the mindfulness practice, but the direction is a bit different. All right, so there's a couple of few more slides to go. So while they are physical support, right, in the college, while we offer face-to-face consultation, workshop, right, so we have a more sustainability of a well-being for the student. Now we also want the students to go into the Mindline, right? So if you have explore the mindline.sg that's actually offered to everyone, but of course they are category on the youth and the adults also, right? So if everybody can actually access to this because it's under the government. So what we do is that this year we actually brief the student that there is another support, right, beside the physical space in LaSalle where they actually see us, but the thing is that, towards the end of the day, where we are not, the staff are not in college anymore, right? So where do they seek support? So that's where the Mindline comes in. It's very, very important. So a lot of time that when we are talking to students, right? The kind of thinking, when we all quiet down and we start to think a lot, that's where some of the situation arises. Okay, I will not say problem, but as we think, we kind of like not very clear of what we want to do, but pretty confused. So that's where the Mindline can come in, where this is online, it's a chat box itself, right? The students can actually go in. There's different interfaces, actually very interesting. So you can see that if they want, if they can click on the youth. If we are adults, we can click on the work. So, or even the self, itself, yeah. So you can actually explore further. So this is a certain content inside. They all are curated by the Ministry of Health and Technology, and also they include the youth to come in to actually come up with this kind of interface. So just have to explore. There's many areas. So students actually can use the tools. If let's say they want to go for mindfulness practice, they have the mindfulness practice, or if they want to, connect to the services, they actually can connect to services. There's a lot of things inside, yeah, that can actually explore. right? So there's also area that they can navigate for different season of life. You can look into that, category, whether yourself, relationships, schoolworks, adulting, mental health care, literacy. So this is actually what we want to promote to the students while, they are at home, at quick, because there's a lot of students right now are using AI chatbots. And this is actually geared for the mental well-being. So it's customized. So it's good for them to actually explore on this side. Okay. So another thing that you can actually look into the self-care box is many areas that actually can explore. All right. They even have games, they could journaling, ask you for go for exercise. Everything is inside. Okay. So they have touch point. For example, if you want to have a chat with the counselor, we also have a therapist inside there. You see, can SOS, care, text, and there's a community of everybody, like-minded people that can actually engage with the kind of conversation. So with that, this is a support from the pastoral care, and I hope you all, if you have anything that you can actually ask, right? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chinti. All right, so basically that is the services that the pastoral and well-being team actually has for our students. So maybe just a quick 5 minutes. Any questions to the pastoral and the well-being team since Chinting is here? Okay, so looks like we have none. But if there's any questions, then perhaps the agents can actually leave it in the chat box as well, and then we relate it back to you, Ching Ting, and then you can answer them accordingly. Okay, thank you so much for being with us, Ching Ting.
Thank you. Thank you. So I
Okay.
can leave, right?
Yes, 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 you can take your
Thank
leave.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So the next session we have is by our career services team, but he is yet to be here online. So maybe we'll just give maybe about 2 minutes or so, and we'll get him online to just continue the session next. Okay, so just hold on. Okay, hi Steve. Still Golden, can you hear us?
Hello, yes, I can.
Yes. Okay, great. So Steve, you'll be sharing with us on the career services that you actually have for our students, so that the agents are able to know what are some of the things that students can look forward to.
That's great. And we'll talk a little bit about industry too.
Yes, sure. All right. So let me just give you the co-host share rights. And I'll be showing over from my side, right?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Great to see everyone, by the way. Hope you're having a good afternoon.
Yes, there's so many of them here, so it's really great to see everyone together from different countries. All right. Here it is. Okay.
Okay, terrific. And then maybe you can help me operate the slides, Ida. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so welcome everyone. I think when we're talking about career services right now, it's tied into an ecosystem that includes internships and industry engagement. And maybe we'll go to the first slide, please. It's when I talk about an ecosystem, what I mean is it's all interdependent. And we have a lot of challenges right now, to be honest. We've got AI, which seems to be both kind of a godsend, but also a huge challenge for the creative industries. And it's very, we don't know what the impact will be on employment. We have a global economy that seems to be, shall we say, interrupted and unpredictable as well. And yet, when we look at the employability of our graduates from LaSalle, it's quite excellent. And I believe sincerely that this is not only a golden age of content for any students who are creating, our filmmakers, our fine arts students, our broadcast media students, et cetera, but it's also a time of ideation. And what I mean by that is that every company out there, and it doesn't have to be in a creative sector, it can be in a non-creative sector, needs fresh ideas. There's so much disruption in every market. They need original ideas and they need creativity. And we're finding in particular, this is impacting positively the employment and employability of our design students, of which more than half of LaSalle are design students. So what we try to do is to connect all of the aspects that will help prepare them to really face this uncertain and yet quite interesting time in the market. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. So we'll talk about kind of practical stuff. Any student who joins LaSalle as a BA student is required to do a career skill module. My team and I wrote the module ourselves, and we brought in a lot of experts. It's video-based, so the students can take the modules at any point they want within the 3 years. But what we've done is we didn't just want to teach them the obvious things like how to write a CV and how to get through a job interview. We thought what makes a difference for any applicant is to be able to convincingly tell their own story. And by that, what I mean is they need to have a list of words that describes themselves in a very authentic way. So we train them to do this. So if you look at the very first level 1, building your brand, the first 5 levels of this module are about students learning really who they are and being able to describe themselves consistently. So if a student sends in a resume, if they send in a resume, whether for an internship or for a job, if their LinkedIn, their interview, all of it will go back to the same words and it will be very, very consistent. So in the eyes of the employer, they start to get a picture, and these are very positive words like I'm loyal, I'm extremely dedicated, et cetera, et cetera. And this is something that takes quite a bit of time as defining any brand, right? Any product, it takes a while to come up with a good brand, but also for people. And we train the students to really look within and that's the first level. The second level is much more practical. It teaches them to strategize and to research and to acquire a job. I'll also note that we have the last worksheet in the module is ethics and professionalism, because we want all of our graduates from LaSalle to really have a sound ethical and professional code. There's so many stories out there all the time of corrupt practices, et cetera, in businesses. And we believe that those in the creative fields in particular should go in with a terrific set of ethics, and that will make them outstanding citizens as well as employees. So the students have 3 years to finish this at their own pace. And the diploma students also have something similar, which is run at the faculty level in LaSalle. Again, I wrote that curriculum, so there's some consistency. Okay, next slide, please. Now, the second module that the BA students have to take, we call IBL, and we love our acronyms here in Singapore. It's industry-based learning. It is an internship program, but it's more than that. So for all of the BA students, they have the choice. They have to take 400 hours of either an internship or it can be in industry experience. So the reason we've done this is that we had a very close look at our students, and we said, okay, students studying design or students that are studying arts management, many of our MA students, they will probably end up working in organizations, corporations, nonprofit organizations, and they need a certain set of skills that you can gain in an internship, right? For the other students, and let's say a fine arts student who wants to create, going out on an internship may not have any value to them. They just want to work on their craft. And for those students, we give them the option of doing something like an artistic residency, which does have an impact on what they will do, a mentorship. They can engage in a project if they have a faculty sponsor. Again, all 400 hours. And the great thing about the program is that it's all stackable. That means if a student is doing the internship and they can only get 200 hours in the first summer, then they can stack any other internships or projects that they want, and we keep track of all of it. This is a very unique module. We found that I'd say the first run of BAs, it just launched this year in May, 75% of the students went out on traditional internships, and then the others did either projects or experiences, etc. So it was, we were very pleased also that a majority of them could finish the 400 hours in the summertime. Okay. Next slide, please. Now, kind of related to that, for all students at LaSalle, they have the chance to work on industry projects, and these are through our many collaborations. Right now, LaSalle has a lot of companies that it does projects with, and I would say that we probably engage in about maybe 80 to 90 projects a year. Some of these projects are very small. It could be a design competition open to any student. Others are much more in depth, like a live project. One example, if you see the picture of the car here, was a terrific project we did earlier this year with Hyundai. They actually they make battery operated cars in Singapore, and it was a design competition to come up with the new livery or the new kind of decals for the outside of the car. And we had Hyundai designers at the highest levels coming and working with students. They learned about car design, they learned about materials. And then in the end, the students who won the design, they got to see the car with their design on it. And they were invited to go to Korea to the Hyundai headquarters and meet the whole design team. It was an incredible experience. And that's the type of long-term relationship that we really like to have. We'd like to see Hyundai run something again in the next year. So I've kind of demonstrated from competitions through really curriculum-oriented big projects. There are a lot of opportunities for students to get real-world experience. And it's great for these students. They get to meet real professionals, and then it's not quite an internship, but it's an experience. Okay, next slide. My team runs the UAS Career Fair, which is open to all students. This is a really major event that happens in March. And if you happen to be in town, you're more than welcome to come and have a look. Like other career fairs, it's spread over 3 days, and we have a lot of industry partners who will be setting up in our atrium. And they will be talking to students, interviewing them in some cases. They're looking for interns. In some cases, they're looking for employees. But what makes this event very special and different from the rest is that it's very much focused on panels. these are creative panels. And instead of bringing in like top CEOs to talk to the students, we thought it'd be much more valuable for the students to actually engage with kind of young alumni or young professionals who can share their journey. And it wasn't like 40 years ago. It was sort of like, 5 years ago, I joined Google and here's how I got in. And then this is what I do every day. And it has a lot of resonance with students and also inspires them. And there's a lot of time built into the program for students to ask questions and to talk to these industry leaders. I've spoken at these types of events before at universities, and one thing I've noticed myself as a panelist is that when somebody asks a question or if they come up to you afterwards and talk to you, you tend to remember every single person that you meet. And so we think in a way, this is also an incredible opportunity for networking. And last year, it was just an enormous event, almost 2,000 students. So again, if you happen to be in town, you're more than welcome to come by. Next slide, please. Okay, and just to finish on our programming side, I talked a little bit about the video module, and that, as I said, is required of all the BA students, but we also run, I'd say, pretty close to 40 or 50 career skills electives. These are open to all students. Some of them are live. This is a kind of recent one that I did on mastering presentations, and another one below it. Some of them are via Zoom, so they're live streamed. So students can watch them during lunchtime or in the early evening. And basically, we're looking at types of topics that recognize that there are different career paths. And as you know, some of our students I mentioned may go into corporations. That's the company employee path. Some of them want to be freelancers, and that could be 25% of all the students in the near future. And others want to be individual artists, and they need very different skills. As an example, if you're in a company, you may need to understand the importance of mapping the company and knowing what each of the divisions does and where your division fits. Whereas within the freelance work, you would need to know like what a credit term is and why when you finish a job, you need to send in an invoice right away, and then the credit term starts. These are practical skills, again, very much focused on real life kind of survival when they graduate and they start working professionally. The electives are refreshed every year. We've got some new ones now on utilizing AI, for example. In fact, I think we have a few of them running within the next week. Next slide, please. And again, for all of these, they're very much, and my team, I would say, I have a team of 14, and we cover diploma and degree students and master's students as well. The team is not just specialized in the area of career services, they're very specialized in the area of career services in the arts. And the difference is that we have so many connections within the creative sectors. And strategically, what we're trying to do now is to get out and map all of the other industries that are out there that have creative jobs. So you may or may not know that DBS Bank employs more designers than anyone in Singapore. They have 130 plus designers that are working on UX, UI, apps, and yet they're not in a creative industry. Another example is we've recently started a major design project with the wealth management team in BNP Paribas. Now, you wouldn't think that a wealth management team would be a logical place for a young design student to go, but in fact, they have absolutely first-rate designers, and they're working on exciting projects, and they have big budgets. So it's a terrific opportunity for internships, et cetera. So that's really our strategy, is to find wherever there's a creative position in a creative or a non-creative sector. And again, our team is extremely well-versed in the areas of art design. Why it makes a difference? I'm just going to deviate a tiny bit here. My counterpart at, and let's just say randomly SMU, the first meeting they have when they're doing the coaching with the students, maybe if you have a student studying marketing, just to figure out what might be a possible area they're interested in. Is it going to be shipping, electronics? Is it going to be banking? And you start off kind of there. At LaSalle, what you'll find is, and what I found, is that the students know what they want to study. They've had to fight their parents. They've had to fight their guidance counselors. They're so passionate about what they do. The animation students want to be animators. The singers want to sing. And they've really had to fight and be passionate, you know, to follow their passions. So by the time we see them, they know what they want to do. And our role is to, number one, help them connect the dots. Um, and number two, to equip them to really, I would say, widen their searches. As an example, we get a lot of students who are maybe in acting and they're just thinking about theater or television or movies or Netflix, et cetera. But we tell them, look, there's also a very big industry that requires acting talent in video gaming, for example. So again, we just try to open their minds a little bit so that they can, I would say, diversify their searches for jobs. Now, the last type of programming we do, and this is when the students are fresh graduates, again, open to all students at LaSalle. We run what's called career boot camps. It's 4 days. The students can choose to attend one of the days or all of the days. And we bring in teams of experts in the areas of organizational employment, freelancing in the gig economy, and entrepreneurship. These are very resonant topics, and they're very important. And it's really a matter of helping students. It's like a finishing school. It's really to get them skilled up rapidly before they hit the job market. Next slide. Okay. And career consultations. I think that in LaSalle last year, we did over 300 career coaching sessions, which is a lot. And we have an incredible team of coaches. The coaches are all qualified, of course. Many of them have also been taking on extra qualifications in the area of special needs students, for neurologically divergent students, for example. They're a very caring and empathetic and very knowledgeable group. They're extremely up to date on visa situations for our international students. Students of any level and whatever they're studying can go onto our career portal and book a time with a coach. And if you want to pop by the career, I'm not sure if you're I don't think you're in Singapore, but if you are coming through here at any point, if you go to the 4th floor at LaSalle, you'll see the Career Center, and the team is in there. On Fridays, as an example, they do walk-in coaching, which is very popular. And a fun trend that we've noticed, this is just something new. Coaching, I always thought, was kind of a private thing where you would just sort of go in and have a chat with a coach one-to-one. But now with this generation, they really like to go in small groups. So some of our coaching sessions, the students want to go in with their friends. I think that's kind of an interesting new trend that we're seeing. We do, in addition to just the straight consultations, we do resume review, cover letter review, and mock interviews. I'm involved in the mock interviews, and I do a little bit of the coaching for the MA students in particular, but the team is great. And is that our last slide, Ida? It is. Now, before I take questions, one last thing I'll leave you with is that I think that my philosophy about all of the career services is that we don't want students just to get a job. What we want is really to train them to start a career. And there's a subtle difference there. Getting a job is just going out and taking the first opportunity you can get. And we've noticed when we look at our graduate employment survey that students often turn down the first or second job. They're waiting for their dream job, but they want to start their careers. And the difference is that when you start a career, maybe you will work at a place under a mentor and you're taking less money. But in the long term, it's going to help your career more. And that's really much more important to us. The other thing is that careers now are not as linear as they used to be at all. Now I know it's normal for someone to start, maybe they start in one type of company, they're in insurance, and then they switch and they end up in something else. But what we're finding now is students will start in a company, they'll go into freelancing, they'll trampoline back into going into company life again. And so they're really crossing not only industries, but they're actually trampolining between being freelance, being independent artists, and being company employees. So we're seeing a lot more of that, and we're working with that. So does anybody have, at this stage, any questions?
All right. So thanks, Steve. So anyone has any questions, I think it's a good time for you to just, see what questions you may have about career services, the industry, after the students have actually graduated as an alumni and things like that. Or otherwise, you can also put it on the chat box if you're too shy to actually just unmute yourselves to ask the questions.
Yes, the chat box is a good
Yeah.
place to.
Hi, Steve. This is Ratna from India.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for this module. And it is really helpful to, while counseling the students and their parents about the career services offered by LaSalle. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I had a question. So even after the graduates, after they graduate from the course, do they get career services? If yes, then for how many years?
Yes, 3 years.
Okay.
And the only reason we cap it at 3 years is that if it's taking longer than 3 years, I'm not sure how much else we can help them. But if they leave a job that they've been in for 2.5 years, for example, yeah, they can come back to us. But it's 3 years, and they also have access to the career portal. The career portal has thousands and thousands of companies that are posting job opportunities all the time. And at that point, our advancement team takes them over. The advancement team has a kind of portal for jobs as well, but it's focusing more on those with a lot more experience. But yes, to answer the question, and we're not really fussy. We've had students who are like 4 years out, but they've been going to the same coach for quite a while, and they're changing careers, and we still help them out. Yes, great question.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And your finishing line was really great. Like you helped to start a career and not just get a job. Thanks for that.
Oh, well, thank you for the comment.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ratna, for the question. Anyone else has any questions? Maybe we leave about 2 to 3 minutes more. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next session. No question?
Hi Steve, I have a question. Humaira from admissions here. So
Hello.
I just want to check with you, because we work with a lot of Indian students who are actually very keen to come and study in LaSalle. I think the commonly asked questions from them and their parents is that they usually inquire if LaSalle actually offers job placements after graduation. I mean, from our understanding, we know that we don't actually offer job placements, but if you could just elaborate a little bit more on that, I think it would be very useful and helpful for our Indian partners and the rest of the agents as well.
It's a very, very good question. I'll say first that we don't formally offer job placements, but what we do is on a one-to-one basis, we really help students until they get jobs. And there's a slight difference. For example, we did have a student from India, and he had a diploma in broadcast media. Cal would remember him. And he really had a very difficult time finding a job because he was looking for a production company. But he stayed at it, and he found a job. And as soon as he got an S-Pass, right after that, he was offered permanent residence. And that's usually the case. If they can get an S-Pass, then right afterwards, he was able to get permanent residence. And then after that, he could do whatever he wanted. But during that search, which took quite a lot of time. It was a difficult industry. He was constantly seeing the coaches, and whenever we heard of an opportunity out there from our contacts, we would make an introduction. So it wasn't a formal placement, but it was an informal dedication to the student to keep with him until he could find something. And for the international students now, I'm not going to exaggerate the case. It's pretty challenging. However, we have a pretty good track record, and I would say that for the students who are really determined to work in Singapore, we will help them all along the way. We won't give up on them. And it is not only possible, but we have a lot of success stories. I just heard recently we had a fashion student from Myanmar, and she, again, a diploma student, and she had a lot of interviews, and she found an excellent job working in the places that sell the wedding dresses in bridal, which is a really quite a lucrative sector, and she just loves it, and they love her. And again, she got PR shortly after that. So I love these success stories. But we work with the students, we know them by name, and it's not as formal as what you're suggesting, but we will help them until they can find something. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Steve, for joining us for your session and for sharing the informative things that I think our agents will find it very useful in their consultation with prospective students. So with that, I think you can take a move and then we'll proceed to the next section. Thank you so much.
Goodbye,
Steve.
everyone.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right. So we move on to the next section on the portfolio as well as interview advice from our Putnam School of Film and Animation, which we will kickstart with the Bachelor Honours Film program. And we have two of our lecturers here in Mr. Khalid, who's the program leader for the BA Honours Film program. And we also have Wesley, who's here as well to help present this section of the Agent Conference. So Khalid, you can proceed if you're ready.
Thanks, Ida. Can
Yep.
you all hear me?
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
good. And the presentation, do you want me to share the presentation?
Either way,
side?
would you like it to do on your end or my end? I'm fine.
I can do it on my side. It's probably easier. No,
Nope, I can do it on my end then.
I think it's best if you do.
Yep. All right, sure, no problem. Okay.
I'll make it bigger. Okay.
Yeah. Mm.
Okay, thanks, Ida, and welcome, everyone. Okay, so as Ida mentioned, my name's Cal. I'm McClarty. I'm the program leader for the BA Film program. I'm just going to go through a few some tips on the portfolio. So all the new students have to submit a portfolio, and that's the first kind of screening process that we kind of do. And then after that, the students that are shortlisted that pass the portfolio section, we invite them for an interview. Okay, so I'll go through some interview tips as well as portfolio advice as well. Okay. Yeah, and then I'll leave a few minutes at the end for any questions that you may have. Okay. Okay, so all the candidates that want to join the BA Film program, okay, they all have to submit a portfolio. And in the film program, we're pretty flexible in terms of what we can accept, okay? So students may submit kind of sample short film screenplays or kind of film treatments. They can send kind of short video clips, things like music videos, TV commercials, corporate films, documentaries, things that they've worked, even travel kind of videos that seem to be very popular nowadays. Any kind of short films that they've worked on, as well as things like mood boards, storyboards, even photographs, okay, still photography we can accept. And even things like poems or prose, okay, so kind of narrative, fiction work that they may have produced. They also have to submit a one-page synopsis of a short story idea that they would like to, make into a short film. And we do kind of ask them questions about this, okay? I just want to say that the types of students that do come to the film program, they're very mixed. We have students understandably who have actually worked in the industry before. So, they submit portfolios that are very polished, okay, with very kind of high production values. But we also admit students that come from different backgrounds. And so perhaps some of their kind of portfolio, some of their short films may tend to kind of lack the sophisticated technical or aesthetic elements. But if we see kind of potential, okay, creative potential, that's what we're looking for. Okay, so I think for students that don't necessarily have any background, they don't need to be put off. Although having said that, I'm sure every single student that is going to apply to the film program, they have a mobile phone, right? So there's really no excuse for them not to actually shoot video or take photographs. Okay, everyone has access to this even basic kind of camera capture um, um, technology in their smartphones. Okay, all right, on to the next slide. Okay. Right. In terms of the one-page synopsis, okay, so these are a few kind of tips of what we look for when we're kind of reading through these, okay? So we like the synopsis to start with a strong log line, okay? And this usually is 1 to 2 sentences that captures the essence of the story, okay? It's all about grabbing our attention and making us excited to read, to kind of read on. Okay, so being able to write a kind of short, concise log line is very important. Okay. The synopsis should also include information on the character's motivations or goals. Okay, so the main characters in the story, what is it they want or what is it that they need? Okay. The summary, there should also be a summary of the plot. Okay, so very simple, beginning, middle, end. Okay, now you've got to remember that the synopsis of the short story, it's not a trailer. Okay, you have to kind of explain what's happening. It's not about, for example, when you submit a trailer, you don't want to give away the ending, right? Because you want people to go and watch the film. But a story synopsis has to kind of give the game away. Okay, so that's one thing to remember. Okay, so we want a summary of the entire plot. Okay, beginning, middle, and end. Okay, and it's also important that the applicants use precise language. Okay, in order to describe events, characters, locations, because we want. When we read a good kind of short story synopsis, we start imagining. Okay, we start visualizing the characters, the details, the locations. Okay, so it's important that the applicants are able to, get that message across. Okay, to really make the characters and the locations come alive with the types of language that they're using. Okay, so they must use specific language. Okay, few things that they should avoid. Because it's only one page synopsis, right? They can't kind of go into detail. Okay, so mentioning things like subplots or minor characters is not necessary in a one-page synopsis. Okay, as well as going into excessive detail. Okay, because you'll find if you start trying to write a one-page summary of an interesting short story, if you start going into excessive details, you won't have enough room on the page. All right, so avoid excessive details, and also the applicant should avoid excessive backstory and long explanations. Okay, remember a one-page summary is not that many words. Okay, so it has to be concise and to the point, and it's all about getting the people who are reading it excited about the story. Okay. Okay, on to the next slide. Okay. Now, in terms of the portfolio, okay, what we tend to look for is variety. Okay, so as I mentioned, all the applicants that apply to us, they all have mobile phones, and they've had mobile phones for quite some time, right? So they really should be gathering kind of visual examples, whether it's still photography, short video clips, okay? And we like to see variety, okay? So, for example, what's popular nowadays are travelogues. Students travel and then they make short videos, things like this. A lot of students are making things like TikTok, right? So they should have lots and lots of material there. And of course, they're not going to submit it all, but what they have to do is think about, okay, how can I select my best works and how can I create a variety of different types of works? Okay, so perhaps they could submit things that are more corporate, maybe things are a little bit more experimental. Okay, so that variety is what we are looking for. Okay, now in terms of the actual aesthetics of the videos or even the still photographs that students could submit, we look at things like composition. Okay, are the images, whether it's a short film or a photograph, are the images well composed? Okay, and even if students don't have any film background, okay, they can very easily go online and they can do a little bit of research into what makes good visual composition. Okay, variety of shot types. Okay, when we watch the short films, the videos that applicants submit, we like to see a variety. Okay, we don't want to see all wide shots. Okay, we want to see a variety of medium shots, close-ups, alternative perspectives. Once again, the fact that students have mobile phones, very easy. Okay, it's a very small, it's not like using a large kind of format camera. It's very easy to get lots of very, very different and varied creative shots using their mobile phones. Okay, we look at things like lighting. Now, this doesn't mean that students have to go into a studio and use very elaborate lighting. Okay, they can be playing with even practical lights. Okay, or even kind of natural kind of light. Okay, what we don't want to see are kind of images that are way too overexposed or underexposed. Okay. And then when it comes to the short films, in terms of the editing style, we like to have a certain pacing and rhythm. Okay. So once again, okay, nowadays there are so many resources online, so many YouTube tutorials on editing, for example, and how to kind of make kind of engaging moving image content. Okay, so one thing they have to kind of definitely take into consideration is pacing, because if they're going to, let's say, submit 5 or 6 samples of short films, and the kind of the film the program team who are actually watching these going through the portfolios, what we don't want is kind of slow labored kind of short films that aren't where it's clear that the students haven't really considered things like pacing and editing. All right. And then the other major, I would say, element that students should take care or should be aware of is sound. Okay, you could have a very well kind of produced, very, very interesting short film, but if your sound is all over the place, it just destroys the entire kind of overall impact. Okay, so I would really kind of impress upon any applicant to once again use what's available to them in terms of online resources. Okay, in order to, kind of work to a certain extent on their sound. Okay, now we don't we're not expecting kind of studio quality sound, kind of professionally mixed sound in the videos that they submit. But what we don't want are kind of levels, audio levels, the volume goes up and down, and it's very, very distracting. So once again, students, applicants should be trying to, use resources that are readily available. There's certain applications now, kind of editing applications that have lots of AI features in terms of that can actually help, with kind of sound normalization. So I think, nowadays the tools, even freely available tools, are out there. And I think if a student is going to apply for a film school, they should be aware of these tools, okay, and they should be proactive in trying to find, such kind of tools to help them when they submit their portfolio. Okay. So I mentioned diversity. Okay, so what we like, the types of students that we like to accept our students are the type who are very hungry, okay, and very open-minded. Okay, We don't necessarily want to accept students that come into the program and say, I want to be a director and that's all I want to do. Or I want to be a cinematographer and that's all I'm interested in, because they won't do well on the program. The way that the program is structured, it's holistic. We expect students to work hard in every single discipline. Okay, that includes producing, directing, screenwriting, cinematography, sound, post-production, editing, as well as production design. So we really want students that that are open and eager to learn all the different skill sets. Okay, and so if they can submit portfolios that actually show that they do have some kind of aptitude and potential in different elements, like even design or kind of sound recording, sound mixing, for example, even things like programming. Okay, we're very open-minded to accept students that can bring different skill sets. Okay, in the past we've had students that come from computer engineering backgrounds, and then one student came from, I think, a law background. So as long as they come, they're open-minded and they have good ideas to make kind of engaging films, that's what we're looking for. Okay. Another very important element is collaboration. Okay, so in the portfolios that the applicants are submitting, they really should be showing elements of collaboration, because otherwise they won't do well on the program. Okay, it's such an essential requirement on our film program, and it's something which the college as a whole takes very, very seriously. Okay, so evidence of collaboration and the openness and willingness to collaborate. Okay, film is a very collaborative process. Okay, the way that our film program is organized is that there's a lot of group work. Okay, students do have to do individual projects, of course, but there's also a kind of major emphasis on group work, especially when they do their group films and their thesis films. So being able to work well with other students is very, very important. Okay, and then finally, the content versus the final form. As I mentioned, if we see potential, okay, very strong creative potential in a film or in the portfolio, even though, the portfolio may be a little bit rough, then, there's no reason why we wouldn't necessarily accept a student like that, as opposed to having everything perfectly, kind of finished, for example. So, it's a combination. Yeah, we do want students who have good, strong skills coming into the program, but we're also very willing to accept students that just have raw creativity, because, of course, technical skills are things that they can acquire during the 3 years in the program at LaSalle. Okay. Okay. And then a final thing for their portfolio. So what we like students to submit in their portfolio is, I guess, up to 10 different items. They can be a combination of short films, short documentaries, photographs, screenplays, for example. But ideally, they should also then put together a very short show reel. Okay, and this is a compilation of maybe the different films that they worked on, all the different kind of projects. Okay, and this should be, I would say, ideally 30 seconds, no more than 60 seconds long. Okay, and this this would kind of showcase the different roles that they've undertaken and the different types of projects. Okay, once again, right, they can go online and they can find lots of resources to help them put together a strong 30 to 60 second show reel. Okay. Right. So now on to the interview tips. Very important that they speak. Of course, we sometimes have students that that may be a bit on the shy side, and that doesn't go down very well, because that's the only chance they have to impress us. Okay, so they have to. We want them to be confident, and we want them to be spontaneous. Okay. Very, very important, okay? And I can't stress this enough. If students want to apply to our film school, okay, they need to know who they are, what film schools they're applying to, and even the name of the school, okay? It doesn't go down very well when when we ask applicants about our patron, David Putnam, and they've never heard of him or they don't know any of his films. That's not very good, all right? That's like if you go for a job interview and you haven't researched the company, right? So please get the applicants to research the school and the program, okay? It's all online, okay? And so they need to know who our patron is, okay? And then I also suggest that they all watch a film, perhaps that they watched before, that they appreciate, and they should note down things like who's the director, who are the cinematographers, who are the producers, who are the screenwriters, okay? And also make notes about certain things like technical or aesthetic elements of the film that they appreciated, and even maybe things that maybe they would have done differently, you know, if they were put into the director's shoes. Okay, so we really do, you know, we expect students during the interview to be able to talk about films that they like, all right? They will also have to talk about the work. They'll talk about their portfolio. Okay, we don't just accept the portfolio and assume that it's all the students' work, right? We will quiz them. We will ask them about the portfolio and, you know, why they made certain kind of creative choices. Okay, and we do this because it's important that the work is theirs. Okay, that's why we, you know, we do have the interview where they have to talk about their portfolio. And one other thing that I'd like to say about the interview is occasionally we may have people that, applicants whose English level is perhaps not so, you know, kind of high or competent, and they tend to be reading from a script. And the problem with this is that as soon as we veer off our script and we ask them a question that they're not expecting, they kind of stumble. Okay. So it's important that the students that are applying, because it is a BA program, and during the program, students have to do presentations, they have to write a dissertation, you know, they also have to do kind of pitches, you know, to industry. So it's important that they do have a certain, you know, English language level, you know, kind of competency level. Okay. So they just, you know, so they have the confidence to talk about film and to use kind of film specific language. Okay. That is it in a nutshell. I'm not sure if I've forgotten anything major. If Wesley wants to kind of just add, if there's anything that I kind of overlooked.
Look, all good.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Wesley. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions about any specific things you want more information about the actual portfolio or the interview? Anyone?
All right. Thank you, Khalid. So maybe we'll just open up the floor for any questions from the agents, especially if any prospective students who's coming in for this year's intake in 2026 August. Any questions, anyone? Or you can put it in the chat box as well, and then we'll check it from there. Okay, looks like there's none so far, but maybe Khalid, maybe just a question from our end when we speak to prospective students. I think sometimes we do get asked if like the show reel or the short film that they actually submit, if they do have one, could it be in any other language than English? Is that possible? Is that something possible?
Yeah. In terms of what they submit, a short film, it doesn't have to be in English. Absolutely not. As long as there are subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Many of our, and this is, I'm not sure if everybody's aware here, but many of our thesis films, they're not produced in English. Yeah, so our students make all different language films, so that's not a requirement. Of course, the only requirement is that they're able to speak English, but their films they make, they don't have to be in English. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the subtitle will need to be there.
Yeah, the subtitle.
to
Yeah,
help.
we need the subtitles so we know what's going on. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And then for the portfolio part, right? The visual works that they actually submit, does it need to relate to the synopsis that they submitted?
No, not at all. No.
Not at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so the synopsis is just a story idea. Okay, so through the synopsis, we want to know, okay, can they make a short story? Okay, the rest of the portfolio is all the works that they, you know, kind of it can be taken from any kind of work that they've done. Okay, and it should be varied. Yeah, so it's not related. No, not related to the story synopsis. No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions you may have for the rest of the agents? A good opportunity right now? No? Okay. All right. So I think we have none, Khalid, but if you do have any, we'll actually relate to
Yeah,
you
just send them
so
to me.
that,
Sure.
yes. Okay. All right. Thank you, Khalid,
All
and
right, thanks a
Wesley
lot.
as
Thank you.
well. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody. Bye.
Okay, we're a bit ahead of time because the next section for the animation will start at 3:30. So maybe you can take about a 5 minutes toilet break if you need any, or water break and anything like that. We'll come back at 3:30, okay? Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you are back from the very quick short break since we
I'm
actually
here, Ida.
Yes, I saw you, Fanny. Hi.
Yes.
You made it on time.
Yes, oh my God.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Ellen. You're here too. So we are at the very last section. So we got the agents to just go for a quick break since we ended a bit earlier just now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think if we are ready, I'm not sure if all of them are back. Let's see. Okay. All right. So I'm sharing the slides on my end, yes? Or Fanny, are you showing at your end?
I can go in
Okay, I'll
from
give you
my
the
side.
co-host right. Okay.
Okay. Wait, hang on. Let me try. Okay, so is everyone in?
Yes, I think some of them gave a thumbs up that they are in, and I've told them to be in at 3:30 as well. Yes, China, Bruce, Indonesia all give me a thumbs up, so I think we can begin. All right, so everyone, the last section, yes, so that we can actually move on to our Friday evening, and we have here Ellen as well as Penny from the animation program of the Putnam School of Film and Animation. So similarly as to what we did earlier on for the film program, they'll also bring through us some portfolio tips and advice, okay, especially for agents out there whom I think some of us do actually have students who will be applying to the animation program for the AY 2026 intake. So Fanny, you can start off. If
Okay,
you're ready.
okay. Let me screen share. Okay. Okay, yes, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, portfolio advice and interview tips for diploma in animation and BA honors animation. We have Mr. Alan Raj there as well. He is our program leader for diploma. I mostly teach in the diploma program as well, but right now, today I will be speaking for the BA honors portfolio advice as well. Okay, so agenda, the portfolio advice, and some interview tips for the BA applications, and then Q&A. Okay, for diploma, yes, okay, your portfolio should contain 10 to 15 pieces of original works. Okay, so it says here 10 to 15, but honestly for animation, right, we are very labor intensive program. So don't limit yourself to just 10 to 15. Show us as many works as possible. And yes, okay, at least 2 of the following categories: paintings, drawings, collage, blah, blah, blah. We'll show you some examples later. And this work should demonstrate your creative development and process and be created solely by you. Okay, so yes, everything you submit should just be your own works. But if let's say in your process, because we also like to see how you come up with your work. So let's say if you have references, inspirations, you can include that. In fact, right, we like to see those kind of things. So include those, but of course you need to basically put a disclaimer that these are not your works. This is your references, your inspirations, and then you explain what is it that you are referencing from those images and tell us where you get those images from. Okay. Then you are required to upload your portfolio online. I believe how to upload this will be, the instruction will be given by the admin side. And the label, this is very important. If you have any title for your work, you can please put it. What medium you use, which month or year you created, and the last one there, the creative thought process of how you came about and what's your process when you were creating this work. And yes, please do not include any generative AI works. So this one very important here. Okay. Okay, some guidelines here. These are one examples of how you can explain your process here. Okay. Yeah, so here there's some the title could be pen and ink or the nincotophobia and mediums, dimensions, and work of completions. Okay. Or if you have any traditional works then that you take picture of, you scan, right? Please make sure they are clear and presentable. Okay. Okay, this is also very important, observational drawings. We really like to see how you can sit down, look at your environment and capture those in any medium. So we prefer to see traditional medium in this case. So could be pencils, pens, if you like to do watercolors or gouache or whatever it is, okay? We are quite open with it. But yeah, so observational drawings means here live sketching. So you go anywhere in wherever you are, go to the garden, the library, wherever it is, sit down and capture whatever it is that you think is interesting in your environment. Okay, so don't just copy this from an existing digital image. For example, or you download this, you see this image from an internet and you just copy it. So that doesn't really count as observational drawings. Yeah, and people also, right? So we like to see a mixture of environment and then people here. But of course, this is a very high level kind of sketches. This is like professional artist level. Yeah, so draw as much as you can. Just don't just draw one person sitting there, but also draw the environment around that person if you can. Okay, some do's and don'ts is also some things that you want to avoid. These are just some images I captured from the internet. So this kind of still life drawing that kind of looks like an art class homeworks. Yeah, try to avoid anything that is basically just a portfolio from your class, art class, because then right, everyone's portfolio kind of look the same. And it doesn't really tell us your own vision, your own creativity. Okay. And yeah, don't do any exact redraw or tracing of photos, especially like people. You can just like download like Angelina Jolie and then you kind of just like do a copy of it. Because again, it's just copying. We want to see, if you want to do that kind of fan arts, we want to see your interpretation of that person, then that is more interesting. Okay. Yeah, some design, okay, design, any kind of design, character design, environment design, world building, concept arts about this idea that you have. If you can put, so the one on the right here is actually directly from one of our students there. So you got your illustration there and just a paragraph of what the illustration is all about. Even there, yeah, on the left there, character designs, variations and environment designs there. But yeah, tell us what is the idea is about and what inspired it. Okay. Yeah, more images there, just as an example. These two are also from our students. Yeah, characters also. So this is an example of what we ask our students to do when you design a character. Draw this character in front, back, side, three-quarter, expressions, poses. Okay, so this tells us that you are invested in this character and you really develop this character. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you have 3D stuff also, show us 3D stuff. Ellen, do you want to talk about more about this?
Yeah, I can. So sometimes we'll get 3D work and we'll say, okay, I made this 3D work, but all we see is one image and we don't really know to what level is it created. But this is actually from a successful interview portfolio, Fanny. I don't know if you realize this is from one of our current students, but I went back and looked at their portfolio that they presented for us. So within that portfolio, they've got drawings of the character, they've got an explanation of how they came up with the idea of the character. And then in the rendered images, we've got different views of the character. They've got the character in different poses with different props. So we can see that that character is actually fully workable rather than just a static image that, you know, could have been just anyhow modeled with clay or something. This is a character that you can pose and that you can light different ways and texture different ways. So a couple of the other examples that Fanny has shown are also from successful portfolio applications. Actually, I don't know if you recognize them, Fanny.
The one here?
This one
Yes,
is
this one. Yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah, this is from portfolio, and the earlier one with the title that you couldn't pronounce, the first one, I think that's also from a successful portfolio. Very first one.
This one. Yeah.
So this is also from a current student's successful portfolio application. So this is the kind of thing where we see this, we don't just see the work, but we also see what was the thinking behind it, what was the candidate trying to express with this, and how did they do their research to come up with the final image. We find this very, very interesting because it gives us an idea of how they will be as a student, not just have they got craft, but is there thinking behind that craft? We're very, very interested in that.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, this one also. Yeah, we have a lot of do's and don'ts. Try to avoid fan arts. I mean, not to say fan arts are bad. I mean, they are fun things to do, but for application, right? Because again, we want to look for candidates who have original creative ideas, your own ideas. A lot of time, the fan arts that we see is basically just a redraw of the exact character from any existing shows. So it doesn't really, so it doesn't really showcase originality and creativity. So yeah, so avoid fan arts if you can. Diversity in the medium and interest types. So for example, also sometimes we see candidates that have the entire portfolio is just a portrait of characters, right? So the entire portfolio is just that. So that's also not a great idea because you're only interested in that one thing. But because us here, we are animation, so we learn a lot of things, not just character designs. You also have to learn about environment, storytelling, cinematography, blah, 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 not just characters. Okay, so diversify your portfolio. Okay. Yes. Okay, yeah, any storytelling media. So if you want, for example, comics, or you have your own storyboards, or if you go next level and you have done your own animatics, submit all those things there. We get really excited when we see comics or storyboards. But just some tips if you plan to do comics. Avoid panels that have just like text dumps. That means, right, it's just huge speech bubble with a lot of like text there and one tiny heads talking about it, right? So yeah, explore dynamic paneling, framing, include the environments. Okay, so don't be afraid to explore these kind of things. Okay, yeah, storyboards. These are some wild examples that you can find online when you search storyboard. Okay, a good storyboard, right? Of course, for example, on the left here, right, we don't really know what's going on here. So it's good if on the right side here, you can actually have some explanation of what you are intending to do, like the action here, and if there are any dialogues there. Okay. Photograph also, some people submit photography, which is great also. Again, just some tips here. Yes, we love our cats and dogs, and you are interested in flowers, that's great. But yeah, don't just like take some random pictures there and then upload it there. right? So you need to be a bit more discerning here of what kind of photography that you upload, yes, you submit for this kind of portfolio. So for example, you ask yourself here about composition and framing here. When you take a picture, what's your focus there? What's the story there? What's the mood there? This one here, Ellen, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, this is also another successful candidate. We have a lot of people that will say, here's my animation, and then submit it in a PDF, which will not play an animation. Or they'll embed it with a link to their Google Drive, and then they haven't given us permission to view the Google Drive. So one of the things here is we see a little storyboard panel. We see frames from the actual animation, just in case we haven't got time or not able to view it. They have actually put the animation up inside this page. They've told us, that this is one of their first attempts at animation. And there's a video link to a YouTube page, which is, I think, a private YouTube page put up just for us, but it makes absolutely certain that we can view, which is really, really good. And this was linked in the PDF. We can't click on it in this image, but in the PDF, we could click that link to find the animation. And this was, I think this, again, when we talk about clinchers for this person, as soon as we see this, we know we want this person.
Yep.
And the rest of the portfolio was great as well. There was a variety of environments and characters, all the things that Fanny's been talking about. And it's clear from the fact that they include storyboard and character designs of this character and tests of walk cycles and things like that, all within the portfolio. It's clear that this is that person's work. It's clear that they're very proud of it, and they've told the story about why they made it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, okay. So that's all for the diploma in animation examples. Okay. For BA, right? Okay, we have so it's similar 10 to 15, but the same thing here, BA, we want to see quantity as well. We want to see your interest. We want to see your stamina. Because to be honest, okay, this is also applicable for the diploma portfolio. If you only give us like 10 or like bare minimum 10 images, really beautiful rendering, but not a lot of developmental sketches or observational drawings, right? We will consider, will this be more suitable for other program? For example, this portfolio looks more like fine arts, for example, or illustration works, for example. Okay, so again, varieties and quantity there, especially quantities, because yeah, animation, you draw a lot, draw and more draw. You finish drawing, you draw more. Yeah, observational sketches, live drawings, still life, storyboards. So it's all the same thing, variety of 2D rendering, painting, photography, 3D works, ceramics, sculptures, multimedia. So honestly, for the BA portfolio, right, the stuff that we want to look at is sort of the same with the diploma. So you can look at all this diploma stuff as your baseline or benchmark. But the difference is, right, for BA, there is an assumption that when you go into BA, you should already have the technical skills, a certain level of technical skills. What BA portfolio, what our BA lecturers are the one who look at your portfolio, right? The thing we are looking for is, again, your storytelling and your creativity. Okay, not just technical works there. Okay, honestly, the stranger your contents are, the more interesting it is. Okay, so when you look, especially sketchbooks, if you have any sketchbooks there and you can basically just scan it. For example, here, this kind of sketchbooks here, they are not presentable in the sense that one page is one beautiful drawing kind of thing. It's a lot of sketching, a lot of experimental ideas. Those are very good stuff. Those are the kind of things that we want to see. The BA side also want to see. Okay. Yeah, sketchbooks, scan them. Any random strange doodles, strange ideas, put everything in. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, see, emphasis on originality of your work. So copy it.
Can I point out, because it wasn't really said for diploma as well, Fanny, but we're saying this in here. We don't necessarily, because we showed some animation, we don't necessarily need to see animation in portfolios
Yeah.
or diploma. We should have said that. And it's the same with 3D. We don't necessarily need to see it. It's nice to have. Animation is nice to have. Yeah. So sorry I interrupted, but we should have said that for diploma as well.
Right. Yes. Forgot to mention that as well. Yes. Yeah, it's nice to see animation, but not required. Yes, copy and fan art should be avoided. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically it for the examples. For interview tips for BA. Okay, this is important because right, when you sit in interviews, the whoever is interviewing you, they have already seen your portfolio, right? And they will ask you about your work, and you need to be able to articulate. Okay, so this work here is interesting. Tell us more about it. So you need to be able to talk about it. Okay, what's your inspirations? What's your ideas? Or even if it's something that is personal. Oh yeah, the thing. I drew this because when I was 10, I got into this incident, blah, blah, blah. Talk more about this kind of things. BA honors animation is all about ideas and storytellings. If you have any extra works that you didn't manage to put in the portfolio, then you can prepare those as well. For example, some people won't have like sculptures. I mean, they take picture of it and then put it in the portfolio, but you can like show it on the online Zoom thing as well.
And bring sketchbooks.
Yeah, sketchbook. My goodness, sketchbooks. We love sketchbook here. The moment we see you with thick sketchbook that's been drawn front and back all the way, we get excited. Okay, sketchbook. Yeah. Anything else, Ellen, that you want?
Yeah, I think that the base story for both programs, diploma and BA, is that animation is about, it's not just about drawing stuff, it's about telling stories. For BA, that's even more, because we want those stories to be original and exciting and things like this. But even for diploma, the base skill is that you can tell a story with images and that there's a flow through the thing. So when people come along and they've got ideas for characters, it's not just the characters that we're interested in, it's what story is behind those characters, what environment do they live in, what are their motivations and things like this. So when we see things that, as Fanny's already mentioned, where it's just obvious that the person loves drawing and spending ages on a drawing, we get worried, because that's not possible when you have to make an animation. You have to make so many drawings for every second of film. If you're the sort of person who spends hours and hours on one image, then that's a bit frightening for us, because those people never finish animations. So we want to see the ideas and what drives people, especially interview tips for BA. Been a few years since I interviewed for the BA. I have done it in the past. And one of the questions that always comes up is, what kind of stories do you want to tell? What messages are already burning in your mind that you want to get out there? And this program is going to give you the chance to express yourself. So you should have that drive to tell some stories, some things that you feel strongly about, or some characters that have lives of their own inside your heads, those kinds of things. We want to hear, you're doing animation, that should mean that you've got stories that you want to tell.
Mm.
Tell the interviewer what you're going to do with this program.
Yep. And also you need to be able to and willing to talk about yourself, right? Sometimes I will ask you, okay, so what's your interest? Aside, okay, for example, animation. Okay, tell us about your favorite animation or your favorite animators or your favorite character design or even your favorite movies or comic books or whatever it is, okay? So we are also interested in you as a person, and because also we want to see how articulate you can be, because our program has a lot of presentations and articulations, so it's also a bit scary when we see applicants who just answer with like one word. Why do you paint this? Oh, because I like dogs. Full stop. Then we are like, okay. Okay, so again, if you are shy, if you have problem with this kind of articulation, then you need to like prepare and really train yourself to be able to talk a lot. The more you can talk about your interests and your works, right, the better it is. Yeah.
Yeah, one last thing I would say about our programs at LaSalle. We do have 3D animation students and 2D animation students, and in a lot of places, including places I've worked previously, if you're a 3D student, you only focus on technical and you don't have to draw, you don't have to think about character or anything like this, or acting. We are not that. All of our 3D students still have life drawing lessons. They still do all of these other things. We expect them to have sketchbooks still. We expect them to be able to draw their characters before they model them. So we're not, when we come to talk about 3D animation, we're not that technical, blowing spaceships up kind of a school. We're still very much focused on telling stories with characters. There are other places that do that kind of thing, but we don't.
Yeah, even 2D also, you will have to dabble a little bit with 3D, especially nowadays. A lot of things now, 2D and 3D are starting to cross over. Yeah. Also, for us, our school here, we don't just let you specialize in one thing. Like, oh, I just want to be character designer, but I don't want to do animation. Like, no, you cannot just decide on that. When you go into diploma 2D or 3D, when you go to BA 2D or 3D, we will give you a list of modules that you have to go, and you have to go for everything. You have to complete all the modules there. Yeah, because we are doing a holistic kind of pedagogy learning here, not just you want the entire time you only do one character design and that's it. No, we don't do that kind of thing, not in our school.
Ida, do we have any Q&A time?
Yes, we can open the floor. I'm not sure whether any agents would have any questions. Or otherwise they can actually leave it in the chat box, or they can relay it to us and we'll let you know of the questions if there's any. Oh,
Hi,
somebody
I have a
yes.
question.
Mm.
So thank you for that presentation. Now, for animation, we always get this from a lot of students about the softwares that they need to know. And I see that you, at one point, you do say that they should have some sort of animations done in their portfolio. Then you said it's not compulsory. But because all courses to LaSalle are so competitive, do you think we should advise them to do some sort of software programming before so they can actually make animations? What
Okay,
is your
that's a great question. I will answer it like this. We use a range of software. I think that you can look at me. I've been teaching for years and years and years. I've taught so many different places, different softwares, things like this. The software, should they know a particular software before they come to LaSalle? No, not necessary. In fact, just this year, we're teaching our first year a different 3D software than we've taught previously. And the basic reason for that is we think that it's easier for the students to get on with. put it that way, but it doesn't really matter. What I will point out, though, is that we will see things which are from tutorials that we already know. So typical would be students have decided that they need to do a bit of 3D to get on our program. So they all do the same Blender donut tutorial. So we'll see the same Blender donut, and we know the tutorial. It's the basic tutorial. Everybody can follow it. It's very easy to follow. If you don't know no 3D whatsoever, you can work through that. So it tells us very, very little about the student. What it does tell us is that they're willing, which is a great thing. But it's more impressive if they actually wanted to do something with it. And they can show us that willingness a different way, rather than showing us a tutorial that everybody who's sort of thought, okay, let's look at what Blender can do. So we know there's not a particular software, and we really do what we mean what we say. And I think we showed some very, very accomplished drawing as well in the portfolio. We're not looking for that kind of level necessarily. What we're looking for is the willingness, the fact that students, you know, if students don't enjoy drawing, they shouldn't be going on any animation program. So it's the kind of, okay, yeah, I sat down and I drew what was around me, and it's, you know, it's not very good, but I was interested in how this person was sat, and I could see they had an interesting personality, and I tried to capture that. Or you can see in some of those drawings, they're not necessarily accurate, but there's a lot of personality in the characters or the poses or the things like that. And you can see that it's not necessarily very, very accomplished. What's more interesting to us, because we teach drawing, we teach 3D, we teach 2D. What we want are people that we can see from the portfolio want to learn, are teachable, are excited by the things that are around them and the ideas that they have. So software, no, not important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to add that, yeah, because again, like I keep repeating ideas, storytelling, because that's honestly, that's the one thing that is hardest to teach for students, their creativity, because technicals for software change all the time. They update, new software come out. It used to be Maya is the #1, now Blender is coming up. 2D animation, it used to be pencil and paper, then they have TV Paint, and then now Blender has Grease Pencil, and then now have Procreate has Procreate Dream. You go to iPad, there's so many 2D animation software. So honestly, we don't really look at whether how many software the applicants can have tried. We are more interested in ideas, in creativity. Like, yes, I can, yeah, I know how to animate a bouncing ball or like stick figure walking. That's a very basic exercise that, yeah, it's good to have, but honestly, it doesn't really get us excited. We are more excited to see just drawings, ideas, storytellings, concepts, interests.
I mentioned when we were showing the picture of the student that had submitted a link to an animation, and I was showing that one. I mentioned that student had also included a walk cycle. A walk cycle is a basic kind of exercise. So we do get a lot of people that submit walk cycles, but it's very obvious that they've actually just followed a tutorial and done what we would call generic walk cycle. When we looked at that student's walk cycle that they'd submitted, there was personality of the character coming through in the way that they were walking and looking dreamy and obviously thinking about the world around them, kind of thing. So it wasn't just a generic walk cycle, it was a walk cycle that told you about the character. So it's in that case, it was a good thing to include, but we see many, many people that just include, again, a basic exercise that they followed off the internet. Again, it is encouraging that they have done that because it shows willingness. So it is a plus point, but it's way more interesting when they've taken it a bit further and thought about, okay, how's my character, how does my character walk, as opposed to what's a basic mechanical walk. So those kinds of things are what get us really excited. There was another thing that I wanted to say, which is that our students tend to use a lot of different software. You probably gathered that from what Fanny was just saying. We don't separate students into different rooms and things like this at LaSalle. All of our studios have all the software, 2D, 3D, Adobe things. Everything is on every computer. So the students will tend to use a mixture of everything to get the job done. And they'll be, that's, again, it's a kind of the way LaSalle work. We want the students to absorb a lot of technical ability, but then use it in interesting ways that they come up with themselves to make interesting stories.
Thank you. Thank you. My next question, and maybe I missed it in the presentation, was that what is the difference between the BA Animation and the BA Animation Arts? Is there any difference? Because there are some universities that offer an animation course, and I got this from a student of mine. Why is this course called Animation Arts and not just pure animation? Is there a difference in the LaSalle course?
Okay, so we have a diploma in animation and we have a BA in animation art. There's no BA in animation. So the title of the program for BA is BA in animation art. And I think it's to distinguish the fact that we are an art college and that the interest on that program is in the expressive nature of animation, the original storytelling. Fanny can help me out here if you want.
Yeah. So
it's not a technical program, the BA. It's way more about use whatever you can to tell the stories that you need to tell. Diploma is more about coming up with a fantastic portfolio that will get you a great job or move you on to the program, the BA program that you want to study. So diploma is technical in nature, and the final outcome is we hope a great portfolio. The technical skills on BA are not, there's not like one level for diploma and then a higher level of technical skill for BA. I would say that the technical skill level on BA is probably very similar, but what's different there is it's the artistic creative input for the BA. So that's why it's called animation art.
I also want to add the BA, right, is BA honors in animation. So the honors part there, right, is because BA students also need to write papers. They need to write thesis. So BA honors in LaSalle is a 3 years program. So year 1, year 2, year 3. When they are in year 3, so every year, every semester, they will need to write papers. Okay, as they go from year 1, 2, 3, the word count will increase, of course. By the time they're in year 3, for one entire year, they will be working on one film in a group. And then, right, aside from that one film, they also have to write a dissertation. And the dissertation has to be related to that film. So that film, right, can't just be like, oh yeah, I like Gundam, I like mecha, big robot punching big monster, yay. And then just do that like Michael Bay kind of things. Like, no, we don't do that kind of things. You need to actually have an idea. You have a thesis here, you have a concept of what is it you're trying to say here using this medium here. And then that's what you need to basically explore and articulate in your thesis paper, your dissertation here. And your dissertation by your year 3 here, it needs to be sophisticated enough that you can actually submit those papers into conferences, international academic conferences. Yeah, so that's why we have the honors, because we are not for BA, for our BA program here, we don't just do technical stuff, but you also have a lot of like those kind of like the heavy thinking side of it. Yeah.
But your question was about what's BA animation, what's BA animation art. There is no BA animation.
Yeah, no, we only have
No,
one
no,
BA
no,
honors in
sorry, I
animation.
wasn't clear. I'm saying at other institutions internationally, they
Yeah.
have a BA animation course.
Okay.
Is there a difference between their BA animation and the LaSalle BA arts? That's what my question was.
Okay, so I
I
think
think it's the same. It's just terminology, because I think what you've explained, that is the creative, artistic input, along with the technical skills. That's basically what I wanted to know. Thank you.
right. I think if you're taking something like a fine art program, you understand people not just painting. They have a whole theory behind what they're doing, and they can talk for hours and hours about why they have decided to express their art in that particular way. And BA animation art, you should be able to do the same thing about your animation. It's not just a technical program. There has to be thought behind it, which is not the case for diploma, though we hope our students also have thought behind what they do.
Thank you so much.
We're looking for them to be technically proficient and as expressive as they can be. But diploma is, like I say, it's about portfolio.
Yeah.
BA is about thesis film.
Thank you again. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Ellen and Fanny, for being here to explain to our agents about the diploma and also the BA animation program. So if there's any questions, I think we can just leave it in the chat box, or you can email to your market in charge and we'll bring it up to the respective lecturers who's been here with us either for the film or for the animation. Okay? All right. Thank you, Ellen and Fanny, for being here with us on a Friday afternoon. Okay, so you can take your leave if you have to.
Okay, thank you.
All
Bye-bye.
right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. So for the rest of the agents who are here, if you have any questions that you might not have now, but later on, as you go through your evening and over the weekend, you think of some questions you have, please let it through to your market in charge, and we will keep in touch with the respective lecturers to actually follow up with the questions as well. Okay. So before we end, I think we just do some informal virtual photo taking. So if I can have you to just turn on your video for a while, and we'll just take a picture quickly so you can move on. Gonna go for the first one. Okay, if you're ready. All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next page. Okay, can I have the people on to turn on the camera for a while? All of you? Just for the next 1 to 2 minutes, if you don't mind.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. Okay. Right. We're moving on to the third page. Okay. All right, we're good to go. So everyone, thank you for being here. So as I said again, if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with your market in charge of your questions, and then we'll get back to you again. And thank you so much. Have a good weekend, everyone, and take care. All right, thank you all.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Humaira. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
The last thank you, Humaira. So,